everyone. Just enjoying myself. Kids are off at school. It's been a while since I checked in. Got married. And just kind of been living the life. But something that kind of struck me and I figured I should record about it. Me and my wife, she has the kids. The youngest is 5 and the oldest is 10. Oh, the youngest is 6 now. The oldest is 10. And we've seen Spider-Man 3 times now. The youngest one, he's kind of in that's your first superhero, Spider-Man, Superman usually. So we've seen the new one about 3 times. And with great power comes great responsibility has come up quite a bit. We went to go see the movie in the theater last Wednesday. The youngest one wanted to wear his Miles Morales suit. Now, apparently, his mother had packed it away, and it was somewhere in the basement, and he asked me to go find it. Can you find my Spider-Man outfit? And I was like, sure, I'll look for it. I don't know where it is. Hopefully, I can find it. So, honestly, I really had put that on the back burner in my mind. And went outside, came back in. He was kind of sitting on the couch waiting around for me. Are you going to look for the suit now? Like, you know what? Sure. I'll go look for this. Our basement actually has 2 rooms, 2 sides. So going to the first side, I kind of look. I'm like, man, I do not feel like going to the other side looking for it. But then something struck me. With great power comes great responsibility. I was like, you know what? He is expecting me to find this suit. There's no doubt in his mind that I'm going to come back up with this suit in my hand. And I'm like, you know what? With great power does come great responsibility. If I have the power to mold him and guide him in my thoughts, and him respect and listen to me and listen to my guidance, then I have the responsibility to prove to him that that's worth listening to me. I need to retrieve this suit. So sure enough, I go on the other side. It takes me about 30 seconds. I actually pretty much go through a pile of clothes, retrieve it, bam. When I come up the steps from the basement, he's sitting on the couch, like pretty much looking at the basement steps, waiting for me to come up. You find the suit? And sure enough, I had it. Just the look in his eye kind of showed me something. I was like, you know what? I had to do that. And I felt bad that in the back of my mind earlier, that wasn't really a pressing priority to me. I owe that to him. He looks up to me in a roundabout way. Him and his brother. And his brother, being 10, when I first got around, he was about 7. It took me a while to win him over. But now we really have a pretty decent relationship. And I believe that's because I have the responsibility. If he's going to listen to me and be into the things that I'm into, I have to listen to him and be into the things that he's into. So maybe I'm not into the video games that he's into, but he has such joy in showing me the modifications he's made on his Fortnite skins or his Forza trucks. I can deal with that. It's worth it. Actually, just sitting in him talking and explaining and jabbering on like a 4th grader would, it takes me back to, I remember when I wanted that. I was in his same situation. I tell him that a lot of times. I was him. For 10 years, I was an only child, and then my brother came. It was really a struggle after when I was 15 and he was 5, that we kind of veered off and separated to the point we're not even super close to this day. We have our moments. I remember that feeling of wanting someone to care, wanting someone to be there, knowing that I could turn and hear another voice, another alternative. I wasn't under a dictatorship as my mother. What she said goes, and that was the final say. There was a way out. And honestly, the 3 years that I've been here, we've been married for about 4 months now. The 3 years that I've been here, 4 years I've been here, the kids have come leaps and bounds. The oldest one was really bad. He would yell out yeet all the time in school to the point it seemed like he had Tourette syndrome. And sometimes he would do that in the house. But he has really calmed down. I think that was just him acting out that he wasn't being heard because his younger brother's there, and you kind of always cater to the younger one. I understand he needs more. And I remembered that, like, I was your baby. Now I'm kind of being pushed out of the nest, so to speak. And I understand why logically it makes perfect sense, but it still hurts emotionally to not be the only one getting the love. So now it seems that in a way, me and the mother switch off at times. We're usually one on one with a particular child, and they seem to respond a lot better. They want to interact with each other. They fight a lot less. We try to have constructive things for them to do. As well as group activities, I try to give them individual activities, spend time with them and cater to their interests, what they like, watch what they want to watch, and kind of process their dumb thoughts. But it makes them better people, and that actually makes me a better person, knowing that I can directly see the impact that I'm making. With great power comes great responsibility, and I'm trying my best to live up to that responsibility. One thing that makes this very key is that my wife, their mother, we both uplift each other. And what I mean by that is we give praise in front of the children. Even sometimes if I do something, I'll say, your mother said this. Your mother said give this to you. Vice versa, she'll do that. Jason bought that for you. Jason got that for you. You should tell him thank you. And that way, I think they see, I guess, behind the curtain that it takes a team to run this. Now, they are reluctant to clean their room. The youngest one really comes around. He's cool with cleaning anything. He's kind of like a somewhat mini me. The older one, work ethic wise, he's not me, but he sounds like me. If I close my eyes, I'll be like, dang, that sounds like something I would say. So it does work. But it's a combination of me and the mother seeing eye to eye and try to be on the same page, uplift each other. Where I fall, she catches. Where I fall, she catches. Because ultimately it's about the children, and they're the ones that suffer if you don't do a good job, if they're not necessarily the priority. And this is something that the red pill won't tell you, is that sure, I understand that you're patching up another woman's problems, you're making up for her mistakes, but ultimately the kids suffer. I was one of those kids who was a mistake of their mother's decisions. And my brother's father came in and he was a light in my life. At the time, I didn't really realize it. I liked him. I did not mind hanging out with him. But once I got older, I realized how impactful he was. He taught me a lot about life, about having rules and morals and guidelines for yourself, like having a standard. These are things you will and won't do. It kind of just became me, and I wasn't aware that these were rules I was following. But now I totally realize, as raising up these stepkids, I'm totally a byproduct of my stepfather and my mother. And even though they were not together, both of their influence was really just about us. That's all they were doing. My stepfather and mother were not together, but they were really focused on me and my brother. My mother tells me now something I didn't even realize, that I remember my brother's father when I was about 7 to 10. That's like when our core of hanging out. And actually, he was around when I was 4 to 6. Him and my mother stopped talking for about a year or two, and then he came back together. And I guess that's when I remember him, and I thought he was just like fresh. That was the first appearance. Having someone else to judge me or ridicule me, say, if I'm willing to do bad as a child, I can kind of get over what my mother says. And not even just that it's my mother, but it's just one voice. But now that you got two people, and both of these people really care, like, I don't want to hurt two people's feelings. I can take one, but I can't take both. And I think I'm starting to see the power of that now. I believe because I guess I get a little more aggressive and I have a shorter fuse, that the kids respond to me pretty well, but also I think it's a matter of caring. I can say something and be disappointed, and maybe I'll say it like I should have been saying it to a grown-up instead of a child. But right after that, they will come and ask me for like anything. Can you get me something to drink? Can you get me something to eat? So I understand that might be kind of rough on them, but it does show me that they realize that's just the moment. Whatever that was just it. And he doesn't hate me. It's not the end of the world. He's just mad at that particular instance. And I'm very proud of them for being able to rationalize that. The red pill will never tell you the impact that you make on the children. I think Chris Rock said it best. Was it the Bring the Pain special? When he said a girl was out at the club on just a regular ass Tuesday or Wednesday night. And he was like, go home, take care of your kids before they rob me in 10 years. And that's about the truth. All these kids that you don't want to take care of another man's baby, these are going to be the criminals in 10 years. You could stop that. Impact one life, and you will be amazed what that one life can do. What if you are raising the next Elon Musk? What if you are raising the next Will Smith, Jaden Smith? If you are raising somebody who will make a social impact, a medical impact, an environmental impact, an impact just in his neighborhood, an impact in his house, being a good role model for people to see. You don't know how that impacts things. Mentors, not just being a stepdad, but mentors. I think about this one teacher I had in high school, Mr. Gannon. I hope he's still alive and bless his soul. He was a short Irish man. He was young. He was probably about like 5'6", 5'8" though. And because he was a rookie teacher, they gave him the worst students. Unfortunately, I was one of those worst students, but it was so bad that when we all looked at around us at the class, we were like, oh my God, this teacher is not going to make it. Like we all started feeling sorry for whoever was about to be the teacher for whatever we might do somewhere throughout the year. But he captivated us. And we didn't even have our history books. At least in particular for me, the first semester of African American history, I had a black teacher. Mrs. McCarthy, I believe her name was. Black History B, I had Mr. Gannon. So actually, Mrs. McCarthy was the head of the Black Caucus on top of that. So she was really about to teach us some pro-black stuff in the civil rights. All she did was put things on the overhead projector. That's how old things were. Before computers could be displayed somewhere on a monitor, they had to put a translucent piece of paper with words on it, and a projector had to project it onto a screen. So that's all we did was copy notes. It was names, it was inventions, but we didn't even get pictures with it to even what the fuck is a cotton gin? Like, at least if you show me, I can kind of understand. Like, my family's from North Carolina. I know a little bit of farm machinery. So it's throwing me off kind of not knowing what machine it is. Have I seen it before? Have I not seen it before? But she was the worst teacher, to the point that the kids who were on the honor roll dropped out the class because they were failing. They couldn't get it. So they were like, they can't take this on their overall GPA. So they dropped her class. But so Mr. Gannon rolls around next semester, and I guess because of the grades of what I did last semester, they really didn't give a crap about me. Threw me in the class with all the bad kids. Mr. Gannon walks in and he captivates us. I mean, we don't have a book. He's just right. He barely wrote things on the board. Just the terms that we had to remember for tests, he would like write on boards. I can remember like scallywag and carpetbagger. He was teaching us Civil War rebuilding. He was teaching us the way he would relate the things to us, the terms to make it become livable and breathable. Like he was like, y'all remember when the Redskins went to the Super Bowl on the strike year. They were the Scabs. Yeah, you saw how the people felt about them. That's what these people were in the South. And like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now you're breathing life into this time. It's not just there was white people, there was slaves, it was bad. Okay, now you're breathing why there was slaves, why the Civil War was really happening, the climate of what was going on, what the mindset of the people were. and really why it became the North versus the South. Needless to say, everybody gets outstanding grades in his class without a book. And I remember this. Okay, I'm not going to say the name just to spare this student, but he was in tears. Like, he was holding it back. He was really, but like you could see it kind of in his face. It was almost like he watched his mom die and like was trying to hold it in and be tough for us. But he was like, looking at the paper I never got an A before. He couldn't believe it. I guess we were like 16 years old at the time. That was the first A he ever got. And he probably didn't even think he was capable of that kind of work. He just had chalked himself up as a dummy. And when he saw that paper, like that changed his life. That literally changed his life. I'm not saying he became a model student or even really improved his grades to the point where he was like on the honor roll, but he had a thirst for knowledge after that. Once he saw he could learn, he wanted to learn. And that's something that you could be as a stepfather. It's not just about you and the woman. It's about the future of what that child thinks about relationships, what he thinks about men and women, what he's supposed to do when he's with a woman, how you deal with stress, how you deal with pressure, the things you're supposed to do. You have to live it and breathe it. And no matter what it is, I'm not telling you live a fake life. Whatever it is, just stick by it. That's what the kids notice. The consistency. You're not going to like this. Oh, he's going to be mad at that. I better do this. They're listening. With great power comes great responsibility. You have to be there for them. They want to know they're being heard. They want to know they're being cared for. You care for them and they will care for you. And that transcends anything. Thank you.